Looking to understand more about the endangered species on Marco Island? Tune into this episode of Really Mary.
Really, Mary?
Hi, I'm Mary Bartos with the Bartos Group at Premier Plus Realty. And boy, are we delighted today to have Brittany Piersma from the Audubon Western Everglades. Brittany, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, we are super delighted to have you. It's interesting because, here in real estate, there's a lot of things that we have to consider when building and buying a lot. And the better thing is Brittany looks at and really conserves or protects 3 species. And I really, Brittany, tell us about what those are and what you do.
So I work for Audubon Western Everglades, and I am their field biologist. We have 3 main conservation programs. One of those is our winter shorebirds. So if you go onto a beach, especially we're hitting that time of year right now, we have a lot of migratory birds that come to our area. We do a lot of surveys as well as outreach and stewardship on the beach. And while we're out there, we're also looking for any bans on these birds so we can track individual species, see where they're migrating from, how far they're traveling, how old they are. Another program that we have for conservation is the gopher tortoises. And that's a project that we just recently started up about a year ago. And we are looking to get a general population of all the tortoises living on Marco Island. So we're getting approval to survey each lot that we can on Marco and getting a whole general population size. The last one is burrowing owls. And the burrowing owl program has been going on for quite a few years now. And that is another species that is protected, and we're helping with the conservation. And as well as you mentioned, a big part of those, both gopher tortoises and burrowing owls, do reflect on real estate and just trying to spread awareness that you can still build on a property, just have to get the correct permits and go through the right process.
I love that because at the end of the day, these are amazing little creatures. And I say that because burrowing owls, I have several nests on the street where I live. They're also very protective of their nests and they will come at you. So I have one son that I swear when he was running, Brittany, that little owl who's like this big, right? Maybe a teeny bit bigger, would swoop at him and like attack him in the head. And he's like, this is not good, but they are very precious. And the fact that you said that we can still build on lots with them, but there are processes that we have to go through. And is that something that, you do in the organization at Audubon Western Everglades, or is there other people that you refer to?
So we're basically the monitors and helping with conservation of the species. We definitely are here to answer questions, but in order to go through the process towards removing a burrow, or if it's a tortoise, then you're also going to be removing that tortoise. So owls can fly away. They have to find new habitat, but whereas tortoises have to be relocated. Depending on the species, you would have to get a permit through FWC. You'd have to get a consultant, have it surveyed, and then have them properly removed. I mean, these are both state protected species, they're threatened species. So it's really important to go through the right process since their numbers are so low. And we do have a lot of volunteers on the island. We have over 60, sometimes close to 100, depending on the time of year. So aside from general concerned citizens, we have a lot of volunteers out there that are constantly monitoring these areas. That way we can assist if there's any concerns or questions. I know a lot of people buy properties from out of state, so they may be completely unaware of what's on the property that they're buying.
Oh, I have to giggle because I had a client that bought a property over by Tiger Tail, and he called it a zoo because you have to get different people to come in. The tortoises had to be relocated, and they'd gone down into several nests down below, even in the owl nest. They had found their way down there, and it could be quite expensive. So you want to know, if you can at all, how many tortoises you have, because I asked the guy one time, I said, why is it so expensive? I want to say it's like $5,000 to relocate 2 tortoises. Does that sound right?
It depends entirely on the situation. So I'm not a consultant, but there's different permits for different numbers of burrows. The burrows essentially are habitat. So I think that's the most important thing for people to realize for both burrowing owls and tortoises, but especially tortoises. Tortoises can have habitat in their burrows for up to 350 different species of animals. So you're not only removing that tortoise, you're removing a home that potentially has hundreds of other species that, given time in different areas, might be using it, whether it's temporary or long term. But yes, the price depends on what you're doing. There are also other alternatives. So say you're removing a starter or a burrowing owl burrow. If you're removing a burrowing owl burrow, you have the opportunity, if you want to go through the mitigation process, of getting a starter burrow after you develop, and that will actually cut your cost. Afterwards, after you develop, they dig 2 starter burrows, and if the owls are comfortable, they may come back to that property. So then you're giving them habitat afterwards, which is a part of our starter burrow program. So we dig on any property that is allowed by the owners if they want to, if they're willing to have a burrow dug in their yard. It gives these owls other habitat. So as we're losing all these properties to development, we're giving them options of burrows to go to. A starter burrow is just a beginning of a burrow in a yard, and an owl, if they come, they see the perch, they like the area, the habitat, they feel safe, they might create a home, and then you might have young owls being born right on your lot, which is kind of cool to have in your front yard to watch them grow up.
It is. Tell me, how does that work? Because I did sell a house that had a starting burrow in the front that was developed home, and they had like, I want to say 6 or so owls surrounding the area. Do people just go in through their garages and shut the door, or do the owls get friendly with certain people? How does that work?
Do you mean if they come to their front yard for a starter burrow, or if they're just in the area?
Front yard.
Yeah, it really all depends on the habitat. Primary things that the owls wouldn't want are really tall vegetation. So they want to be able to have this open grassy area to see up, so they don't have predators that are keeping an eye on them. So as long as you have nice habitat and you don't have dogs or kids running through that area and they're stress-free, they're pretty confident owls. So if they choose your front yard, they like the habitat. They're pretty resilient. It's the best term to call them, is resilient. They've adapted to living in a lot of ways that other species cannot.
Yeah, I love that. Well, Brittany, my goodness, thank you so much for joining us today. We didn't really talk much about the shorebirds. Well, maybe we'll another time. But we'd love to talk about that because, we love our environment. We love our little, each species that we have that's protected. We do want them to be in a new home when someone comes to build, for sure. But it's sure a pleasure. Thank you so much. Again, until next time, I'm Mary Bartos with the Bartos Group of Premier Plus Realty, and you need to come in and check these protected species because there's nothing like it. Come on down.